Hey everybody, good evening. Just finishing up this song. It's one of my all-time favorite songs. So I just was going to let it finish playing before we got started. All right, awesome. We are live. Hey everybody, welcome to Tea Time Tuesday. It is the first Tea Time Tuesday of the new year, and of course I have my tea. I'm doing it left-handed, which is interesting. And this is my usual nighttime blend here. It's just tea. This is decaffeinated, so I won't be all crazy staying awake all night, because if I drink caffeine, I won't go to sleep, and that's not good. I need to get my rest, especially because I'm still healing. You see, I still got my wonderful cast on, and my knee is still somewhat jacked. So while it's not as bad, the swelling is really starting to go down now, and it's shifting. So I'm looking forward to being completely healed. I get this off next week. I think my wrist is doing pretty good. I'm able to actually type a little bit with my fingers, but somebody was asking me what's the most annoying thing about being like this, and part of it is obviously I'm right-handed and I'm a little ambidextrous in my left hand, but writing wasn't so good. Now I'm able to write a little bit with my right hand because the pain is diminished and I'm able to use this again. But I think really for me the most frustrating thing is my house has got a lot of clutter in it. I can't really put things away. I can bend down and I can, I'm not used to having as much clutter as I have. I mean, I have some product in here, but I'm not used to it being as much in disarray as it is. And I'm dealing with that. Anyway, welcome to, and if you're listening after the fact, welcome. Thank you for listening. Tonight, we are talking about goal setting. This is actually sort of a two-part. This is part two in a way. On Swahili Sunday, if you didn't see it, you can go and look. It's on the website, Baskets and Beads Kenya, in the blog area. It's here on Facebook. It's on YouTube. It's everywhere, where I was talking about choosing your words for the year, or word. I chose two words, grace and gratitude. And I've noticed a lot of people have been sharing. I sent a newsletter out today. People have commented back. People have commented on the posts. Their words. Some people have chosen two words and some people have chosen one. It's whatever you think is best for you, choosing those words. But tonight we're going to talk about goal setting. Now, normally I would talk about this probably on Swahili Sunday, but this is the first Tea Time Tuesday, and Tea Time Tuesday is normally an interview series. And the first interview is next week with my first guest. So I have a couple weeks booked. If you're interested in being on the show, you can go, and I didn't put the thing in, the basketsandbeadskenya.com, look in the events page. There's a place that tells you about the show, and you can click on there, pick a date. It's a free-flowing conversation. If you've seen these before, you know it's free-flowing, and we just have a conversation. I'm happy to talk about with fair trade businesses, with entrepreneurs, with somebody who's doing something awesome in the world, and get your message out there and talk and share and have a good time. Anyway, but tonight we are talking about goal setting. Oh yeah, there's something else that's annoying about this whole thing. I can't do my hair. I've been putting it up in these little things, which at least is some sort of style, but I can't do my hair because I'm right-handed, and I decided not to attempt to learn how to blow dry my hair with my left hand. Thankfully, this is just a little while and I'll be out of it. But my hairstylist actually came by one day and blow dried my hair for me right after I got in the accident. So I was grateful for that. Anyway, all right, let's talk about goal setting and why it's important to set goals, and how I'm going to share with you what you can do to actually create goals that actually come to fruition. The first book I wrote was called The Go Pink Rules of Engagement. It was around my Harley, around motorcycling, taking control of the handlebars of your life. And one of the Go Pink rules is take positive action towards your goals and dreams. Dreams without action are merely fantasies. A lot of people write down a list of goals, but they never do anything or put anything behind them. A lot of people make New Year's resolutions. As a matter of fact, there's studies that show that 25% of the people that make New Year's resolutions, actually less than 25% actually stay committed to them. And after 30 days, only 8% accomplish them. And the statistics go down the further along in the year you get. Because a lot of people do it without, oh, I'm New Year's, let me make some New Year's resolutions. Let me just write some stuff down. Okay. Or let me make some goals. Let me make a list of goals. All right, great. And you put them on a shelf somewhere. This is actually my book that I write my goals down in, and I have them divided into, I actually did this on Saturday. I went, and a funny story about that. I thought, yes, I'm going to go to the beach and I'm going to set my goals. I think I talked about this on Sunday. I'm going to go set my goals. Great. So I walked out to the beach, to the edge where the ocean was, and I looked down and I looked around and I thought, if I sit down, I may not be able to get back up because I still don't have the strength in my knee. And so I stood there staring at the ocean for a while, and I thought, I'm not going to be setting my goals here. That's not going to work because I may not be able to get back up. And there weren't a lot of people around where I was. I would have been like, help, get me up. But I came home and did it. But I have them divided into family, personal, business, professional. Now, why is business and professional different for me? Business is baskets and beads. Professional, I have a job. So professional, I have goals for in my job, and then nonprofit. And I've made several goals, and I may add to them as I go along, or I may adjust them depending. But I have them down, and it's here for me to keep an eye on and look at. It's important to think about setting your goals in a way that you will actually move forward versus simply making a list. I used to make lists. I like to make lists for things, but I made a list of goals, and while I make a checklist of things, I call it and when I teach self-leadership, and as a matter of fact, a lot of what I'm talking is about tonight is something I teach in my class called self-leadership that I've created, and I do 3-hour training on that. I actually was contracted by Southern California Edison to teach that course to several community partners in the Los Angeles area, Southern California area. And writing goals or doing goals and is one of the things that I teach in that. So I'm going to teach you a procedure about how to do that. But one of the things about lists and the way I like to do my day is to do the 6 most important things list. I learned this in Mary Kay Cosmetics. I've been using Mary Kay for years, and I got into Mary Kay many, many years ago to get over my fear of speaking in front of people. Now, people who have seen me speak, I'm speaking right now. I'm live, I'm online, people are watching me. And I used to be petrified to speak in front of people, and not simply, oh, I'm scared. No, I would get red in the face. I would shake. My voice would shake. And I got into Mary Kay because I loved the product, and I was forced to get up and talk about it. And it helped me get over my fear of speaking in front of people. And then I've taken some professional speaker training, and I've been in Toastmasters as well, which is the opportunity to speak. And that's definitely helped. But Mary Kay taught me to use the 6 most important things list in my business, but I do that in my personal life too. What are the 6 most important things I need to get done today? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Sometimes there's 10 on the list, but maybe I need to make sure a shipment's going out, or maybe I need to write a blog post, or maybe I need to prep for the show, or maybe I need to find some guests, or whatever I need to do. I can put that on my 6 most important things list. And I can do a personal and a professional side. So the personal side may be things like pay bills, clean the house. Can't really do that very well right now. Do something with the cats, whatever, water the plants, things like that. That helps me stay focused. If lists work for you, I highly recommend that. That's a great way to get things going with your day. For setting of goals, actually, what was interesting is I was listening to the message from my pastor, Rick Warren at Saddleback Church, and he was talking about vision. There is a scripture, Proverbs 29:18, that says, where there is no vision, the people perish. So having a vision, having an idea of what you want to do for the year. And he was talking about seeing your future in faith, not fear. A lot of people see things in fear, and they have a fear. Some people don't set goals because they're afraid. They're either afraid of not achieving the goal, or of going for the goal, or even achieving the goal. Some people have a fear of success. And people say big, hairy, audacious goals. That's great, but you need to at least set some kind of goal that you can achieve. Now, there's everybody who's ever done any research or studying or been in any kind of leadership training has heard about SMART goals, which that's the way you should set a goal: specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time bound. And I like to add realistic onto the R, and I also like to add accountable onto the A. Accountable meaning accountable to someone. So let's talk about that. Specific, you need to have a specific goal, such as, I want to make some money this year. Okay, that's great. That's not specific. I want to make $100,000 this year. Okay, that's specific. So you have to have it specific. Measurable, how can you measure that? Okay, if you're going for income in your business or in your job or whatever you're going for, if you're going for some kind of income, you can obviously measure that every month. How much? What are your sales every month? Are you moving towards that? And are you doing course corrections if the things that you're doing aren't working, to make things work, to move things forward? That's a way to measure it. Now, achievable, is it something that's achievable? For instance, I can't set a goal that I'm going to go run a marathon. My knee's jacked up, and I can't run like that anyway anymore because of the time I spent in the military running so many years. My knees can't handle running. Like, I can walk, but I can't handle the pounding of running. So for me to set a goal that I'm going to run a marathon versus walking one would not be something achievable for me unless I wanted to damage myself further. So you want to make sure that what you're going for, what you're focusing on, is actually achievable. And then I have accountable in there for the A. Accountable has to do with being accountable to somebody. You go over here in your little silo and you set some goals. Okay, that's great. Here's my goals. But having maybe a coach or an accountability partner or somebody you're accountable to, that's something that you need to consider having to make sure that you stay on track. This is all designed to make sure that you actually take some action and move forward in your goals instead of simply writing a list. And whatever that goal is, a lot of people this time of year have a goal to release some weight. I don't like to say lose, because you could find it again. Don't want to find it again. If you want to get rid of it, you want to release it, let it go somewhere else so it doesn't come back to you. And then aside from that, I had gained what I thought was COVID weight, and I was using one of those meal boxes, and I had chosen the one specifically that I chose because it had very little sugar, and I was reducing sugar and removing sugar as much as I could because of inflammation it was causing in my body, and it worked. But I didn't pay attention to the fat content in those meals. And what I would do, it was a 2-serving meal. I would prepare the meals, and I'd have one maybe for lunch and one for dinner. Well, I started looking because when I was in the hospital and they took my blood, they noticed that my cholesterol was a little high. And I thought, why is that? What, I'm not eating a lot of bad food or fatty food or whatever. I mean, I have my bloated day or whatever where I eat something like a pizza or whatever, but even with that, I get the healthier kind on the cauliflower crust or whatever. But I didn't understand it. I thought, gosh, I don't understand. And then I thought, okay, because they wanted to put me on medication. I thought, I'm not going on medication. Okay, I'm not doing that. They wanted to put me on meds to reduce the cholesterol, and I thought, no, I will do that with my diet. But then, since I'm like this, I haven't been able to cook those meals, and I dropped a bunch of weight. And I was looking at the fat content in those meals, and it was very extreme. So that was kind of a solution for me. But a lot of people do want to, losing weight, or I like to say releasing weight, is a big goal that people have. But how can you make sure that you get there? Have an accountability buddy. Have somebody you're accountable to. I have one friend who is actually being accountable by posting things online every day. He's doing videos every day that he's out walking, and he's tracking, and he's posting it. So everybody that's a friend with him on Facebook, he's accountable to them. He's made a commitment to release a certain amount of weight, and he's being accountable to them. So that's a very important part. Relevant is it's something that makes sense to you, but I like to say realistic, in more so instead of relevant. Realistic meaning reality. Achievable and realistic sort of go hand in hand, but you have to be realistic about, okay, you don't want to set a goal. You're making $200 a month and you want to be multimillionaire by the end of the year. Not saying that that could never happen, but realistically, do you have the plan to get yourself there? So you have to think about those things. And then time bound, you have to put a time on your goals. You have to set a time. And I usually like to not go beyond a year. I usually say it's by the end of the year or by another date. And I'll tell you about the statement in a minute. So you have to have it timed. You have to actually have a time. You can't just list, I want to make money, or I want to make $100,000. Okay, by when? Today, tomorrow, the end of the year, 5 years from now? When do you want to make that, earn that income? And the thing that a lot of people do is like I said, they'll just write down the goal, but they won't have anything behind it, anything specific. They won't have anything to measure it by. They won't have anything like that. So I want to show you a statement that I learned this back in 2008. And I talked a little bit about NLP, neuro-linguistic programming, back on Sunday, on Swahili Sunday. I did some training on that in order to help me heal from a lot of the trauma that I'd been through in my life. So I'm going to share my screen here real quick and bring up let's see. Here we go. I'm going to bring this up. All right, so this is the goal setting statement that I use when I'm setting my goals. And it says, it is now blank. That's the date you want to have it achieved by. It is now 31 December. It is now whatever date, 31 March, 30 June, whatever date you want to have. And I am, or I have blank. That is the goal that you want to achieve. And there's another way to add on to this. You can also say, and I am committed to having or being. So it is now blank, and I am committed to having or being blank. This is a great way to set up your goals. So you've put a timed date in there, and you're specific in what you want. I am, or I have blank. I'm going to leave that up there for a minute. And this will also be in the blog post. The blog post hasn't been released yet. I'll release it shortly after I finish this video and put it in there, because I wanted to have the video in with the blog post. So I'm going to release it early. Usually this one won't come out not supposed to come out till next Sunday, Monday. It'll come out today. For those of you who are listening, you'll see it. I'm not going to share that it's up until Monday when I normally share it. But since if you're watching this, you can go see it, and they'll have all this information in there that you can actually apply to setting your goals. And even if you've set your goals already, I'm going to stop sharing now, because this will also be in that blog post. Even if you've already set your goals, you can also change them up to do this. And I'll give you a couple of examples. When back in 2008, yes, 2009, 2008, it was published in 2010. So it was, in 2008, I actually got a story published in Heart of a Woman in Business. It came out sometime 2008, 2009. And I had this idea to have a book of stories by, for, and about military women. So my good friend, my dear friend who moved to New York about a month or so ago, Cheryl Rausch, she's creator of the Heart book series. And before I approached her, I said, it is now 31 October 2009. And I think this is the way I said it. And I am co-author of Heart of a Woman in Uniform. That's the way the title started out. But then so I contacted her. She was interested in doing the book, and it ended up being Heart of a Military Woman. And it didn't, a lot of people say, oh, what if you set these goals and it doesn't come to fruition? You do all this work and nothing happens. Well, you'll be further along in whatever you're doing, and you may end up course correcting and changing your goal. And that's okay too, but at least you're moving in a direction. You're moving in some sort of direction that will get you there. Well, the book didn't come out 31 October. It came out on Veterans Day, which was 11 days later than the goal, than I set for the goal. And it ended up winning a book award in the San Diego Book Award. So it won a Best Inspirational Category Book Award. So I'm an award-winning author, which was cool. But that was the way I set that goal. Now, when I went for accredited speaker in Toastmasters, for those of you who don't know, I'm an accredited speaker in Toastmasters. It's a professional speaking designation. Within Toastmasters, it's very hard to get. We have 88 out of the over 350,000 Toastmasters members that there are in the world. And I decided to go for that after my dear friend Cheryl poked and prodded and said, you can do this. And I made a decision. I prayed about it and made a decision to go ahead and go for it. Well, I believe it was the 19th of August for 2016. And I set the goal saying it is now 19 August, and it's military. Instead of August 19th, I say 19 August. I can't help it. I was in the military 23 years. That's the way we did the date. 19 August 2016. And I am Toastmasters accredited speaker number 68. Now, interestingly enough, the person who spoke, there were 5 of us that went for it. The person who spoke after me, Darren LaCroix, also got the accredited speaker that year. I went first. And I really think that I set myself up to go. If I wouldn't have gone first, I wouldn't have been number 68. 68 was the next one. So I ended up going first. And I think the way I set my goal had something to do with that. But the thing about it is, you set the goal, you have the date. You can't simply sit back and say, okay, set the goal. No, come on, goal, show up. You actually have to do the work. Like I said, take positive action towards your goals and dreams. You can't simply set a goal and leave it. You actually have to take some action towards making that come true. So what I did, which was a lot of work, after I submitted my application, and then I got past the level 1 judging, and I got past the level 2 judging. Level 1 was where they review your video and your package online. And then level 2 is actually speaking at the Toastmasters International Convention in front of, I think it was an audience of maybe 1,000, with the judges in the audience judging you while you were speaking. Had 20 minutes to speak. And like I said, I was first up. But I didn't simply set the goal back here and then show up one day and speak. I took a lot of action towards that goal to make that goal come to fruition first time. My thing was done right first time, on time. I'm not going to be trying this again and again and again, because when you use the word try, you end up failing anyway. So try gives you the opportunity to open up. Well, I tried. Don't use that when you're setting your goals. Don't use the word try. Don't use the word hope. Don't use the word want. I tried to achieve this goal. I hope I can achieve this goal. I want to achieve this goal. How about I will achieve this goal? I will do this. You have to change your mindset and track that way, make a positive track going forward. And I did the work. Once I got selected to go to level 2, that was probably April of 2016. The convention was in August in 2016 in Washington, D.C. And actually, my daughter, Marissa, was a prop in my speech. We called her the prop. That was her little term of endearment. But I worked so hard doing that speech, writing it, rewriting it. And I don't like to memorize talks. I have my stories. They don't always come out the same. But for this, I had 20 minutes. If I didn't do it in 20 minutes, I could have risked being disqualified for busting time. I had to make sure everything. So I ended up memorizing the speech, and I had to keep repeating it so it would come out right and the timing would be right and it wouldn't sound contrived. And I put in a lot of work to that. And then what happened? I achieved that designation. So I set the goal, and then I'll tell you the next thing that I did. I set the goal. I did a visualization process. And then I started doing the work to get to the goal. And then when I got there, I was already ready to step into it. I was owning it. And I had prepared in advance to be there. I was ready and I tackled it. Now, does that work with every single goal? Not necessarily. But like I said, it gets you closer to where you can course correct and make a change and come back and do it again. As a matter of fact, I went out to a professional Toastmaster speaking club when I was going towards achieving this goal. And I gave this talk and I recorded it and I recorded the feedback. And there was one person that had a yellow pad and she was going page by page through the yellow pad. And I thought, oh my goodness. And the feedback was longer than the talk. The talk was only 20 minutes. I think the feedback went on for an hour. And I came home and I was thinking to this is the thought process, the defeated thought process that wanted to come. Oh, what would happen if I quit? I don't think I'm cut out for this. I don't think I can do this. It took me 3 days before I could actually listen to the recording and get the feedback from the talk. But what I had done, I realized after I listened to the feedback, I'd taken my hour and a half talk and crunched it down into 20 minutes instead of making it a 20-minute talk. I course corrected, and then I went back to the next meeting. They only met once a month. I went back to the next meeting and did the talk again, and they were confused. What did you do? Did you get a coach? I said, no, I listened to your feedback, and feedback's the breakfast of champions. I listened to your feedback. I did it. And now here I am. And that was the talk that pretty much is what I took to Washington, D.C. to earn the accredited speaker designation. I tweaked it here and there. And then what happens sometimes when you're going for your goals, there will be people that mean well, that want to make suggestions. Like at the end of I did 5 negotiation strategies. And at the end I said, this stuff works. That's me. That's my way of speaking. This stuff. I'm a Texas girl. Sometimes I use slang. And somebody suggested I change it to these things when appropriately applied, blah, 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 blah. And I thought, okay, take what you like and leave the rest. That's not me, and I'm not changing it. So sometimes you have to be able to stand up for yourself. You can take feedback. You can see if it works for you, if you want to adjust it or if you want to add it in. But the ultimate thing is you set the goal and then you go for the goal and you keep it in front of you. For instance, I have a goal here that says it is now 31 December 2021 and we have raised $500,000 or better for building housing in Kenya. You can add that or better phrase. So if you have a dollar amount or something that's an absolute, you can add the words or better to your goals, and it makes it so it doesn't have to be that amount or that thing. It can be or better. But the most important thing that you need to do once you set your goal is to do a visualization process. And I do my visualization process to a video, which I'll put the link into the comments, and I'll also include it. I think I have included it in the blog post. Have I included it? Yes, I've included it in the blog post. The videos in the blog post. It's the Rise and Shine video by Nike. It's a Nike video, and it's a bunch of sports things. But if you close your eyes and listen to this video while visualizing your goals, you will feel it happening. You will feel it. You have to visualize yourself seeing it come to fruition, seeing all the things, and let your mind run away with it. Let your mind imagine what it would take to get there. When I did this for the Toastmasters accredited speaker designation, I visualized all these places I was speaking, and then I visualized myself on stage, and then I visualized myself doing the actual talk. And then the end step for me, you have to set an end step for your goal. The end step is that thing that once you receive it, you know that you've achieved that goal. And for me, it was receiving the plaque from the international president that says I'm a Toastmasters accredited speaker. As a matter of fact, I have that right here. This is the plaque that I received. But for me, this was the end step that I visualized in my goal. This was the step that, okay, I did all the work, I made it, but they're like, Eldana Lewis Fernandez, accredited speaker. Congratulations. And they gave me this plaque. This is what I visualized being the end step that to me meant that I achieved this goal. And whatever that end step is for you, end step just means the thing that in your heart, in your mind happens that means to you, you achieve the goal. For instance, the Heart of a Military Woman. Once I got the box of books and I opened the box and I held the book, that was my end step that I achieved that goal. So you have to decide what your end step is. So I'm going to just review over this really quickly. Let me have a sip of tea because this is nice and warm. It's not sizzling hot. Okay, you have to set your goal setting statement. You have to remember the goals have to be specific, measurable, achievable / accountable, relevant / realistic, and time bound. And set them in the statement that says, it is now blank, and I am or I have blank, or I am committed to being or having blank. Like I said, these will be on the blog post that you can refer back to. Once you've set that goal, go through the visualization process, listening to the Rise and Shine video with your eyes closed, visualizing yourself, everything that would happen for you going to achieve that goal. Like I said, let your mind run away. Picture what the end step is for you to get to that goal. And as you go along, keep reviewing your goal. Oh, okay, maybe this amount is too high and I need to course correct it. Or maybe this thing I've said I need to course correct. Or maybe this isn't the goal I want at all. I need to go this way a little bit. You can actually change it. But if you don't set it to begin with, you won't know if that's the track that you're supposed to be on. Now, I take a lot of my things to prayer when I set my goals to ask God to guide me in what he wants me to do. That's something else that you can do if you pray over your things like that. But these are ways that you can set effective goals that you'll actually be able to commit to. They'll actually be in a kind of, I guess, a functional way. They'll be specifically put down in a way, and you'll have spent some time. And I took time on Saturday and I set all these goals for all these areas in my life. Like I said, I have for family, personal, business, professional, and the nonprofit. And whatever your goals that you want to achieve, you need to write them down. And I can't read them too good because I was kind of writing with my kind of broken situation here, but I can still read them. I'll probably redo them after the fact. But I just wanted to share those things with you today because this is the beginning of 2021. People are always setting resolutions, and I think that a lot of resolutions are set and then they go by the wayside. There's studies that prove that. I've done it myself. Oh, I'm going to set this resolution that I'm going to stop doing this, or I'm going to start doing that, or whatever. I didn't write it down really. I had it in my head, or maybe I put a little list somewhere. But doing goal setting this way is a very powerful way to make sure that all your goals and dreams, you'll be on track to actually take positive action towards your goals and dreams. Like I said, shortly after this, I'm going to put this recording into the blog post and put the blog post up on basketsofbeadskenya.com. Do I have a banner? I think I have a banner. Or do I just have the .org? Oh, no. Yeah, basketsofbeadskenya.com on the blog. And it'll be the goal setting statement. And if you didn't see the one on choosing your words for the year, you can also check that out too. Starting next week, we're going to go back to having interviews. And like I said, if you would like to be interviewed, if you go to basketsofbeadskenya.com, look on the event tab, because it is an event. Tea Time Tuesday, I'd love to interview you and have a nice conversation about your business and what you're doing to make a difference in the world today, and or anything you want to chat about. I've got some time open still this month. I've got a couple interviews set up for this month, but there's still, I think, one week left that if you want to interview this month or next month or whenever. I may be going to Kenya the end of February. That's my plan. I'm praying about that and seeing how to make that happen safely. And I'll make a decision about that shortly. We'll be doing some Tea Time Tuesday from Kenya. But that's about it for tonight. Join me next week, and I will have a guest that I will be putting that information out shortly. But again, go to the blog, basketsofbeadskenya.com, check out the blog, and also go to the events page if you'd like to be on the show. I'd love to hear one of your goals. Feel free to share it in the comments area or on the blog post. You can share it in the comments on the blog post. I'd love to hear one of your goals set up this way. And if you have a goal written out and you've changed it to the way I've shared tonight, let me know about that too. I'd love to hear about that. All right, everybody, have a great night. I will speak to you soon, and much nakupenda.